Hello and welcome to another WWS training video. As always, I remind you to access all the great technology resources at our portal, and this video will be posted on the technology training page. So I'm going to close this tab for now. This is our advanced Gmail training video, so I'm just going to kind of go through a whole bunch of features that you might not get in a basic training, and it's probably just going to end up being kind of a ramble here, but we'll see what we can come up with on making this video. So first thing I just want to highlight is using the tabs in your web browser. So I'm on my Gmail tab here. I have a tab open for Drive. I have a blank tab. I have a tab for just another website, the school website here. So I would probably recommend, just keeping Gmail, the tab open all day long. That way you don't have to keep signing in and out. You can always just use this little tiny button up here, top right hand corner, minimize. It'll minimize it down to your taskbar at the bottom. That can just help you keep track of things better and be able to switch between things. You can always use the button to create a new tab and just keep adding more options, but just works out to kind of keep this one running all the time so you're always logged in. And then using the 9 boxes or the so-called waffle icon over here can enable you to access all your other Google products and such. So that's getting started. Now I want to take a look at some advanced features with the attachments. So let's take a look at this, a couple emails here. So this was an email that sent out, and we have a PDF document, so we can hover over it and we could just click on it, or we could click on the download arrow or the save to drive, and I'll just click on it and note this is our preview window. So we do have options up at the top here with a little drop down arrow, more apps that could open it, more options up here, and then an X to close it. And then a similar thing will happen if we go to this email here came with an attachment for a Word document, and you can also preview Word documents in Google Drive as well. So that is convenient to have, same sort of idea. I could open it in Docs, I can hit the X to close it, download, print, those sorts of things. So that the preview is a nice thing to have there. But let's just go back for now and take a look at that PDF attachment we were looking at. And I want to show you in my Google Drive over here, I have, 6 folders here and nothing outside of the folders. So if I go back to Google Drive, instead of downloading a file to my computer, I can actually just click this Save to Drive button, and then that folder, it'll even tell me that attachment isn't saved to Google Drive. Now let's go over here to my Google Drive tab, and you can see it showed up right there in my it didn't go in any folders. It's just in the kind of the root section of my drive. So personally, I can't stand having files out there. I'm much more of an organization person. So what you can do is I can come in here and I can select a new folder to put that in. So for now, I'm just going to select this folder, and then I'm going to go in here and say it's in public homework, and then move, and then now that file got saved in it got moved into that folder here. So that's just a convenient way. Right when you're at an attachment, just hit the Save to Drive button, and it will let you move it to the exact folder you want to move it to. So that's pretty nice as far as handling attachments there. And now that I've done that once, I can actually just click on the link, and it will open it in the it'll show me where it's at in Drive and open that up for me. So it knows that I've saved that once already. So that is pretty cool. Now let's go back and kind of actually look at the reverse of that. So we can go to Compose, and I'm going to go down to, instead of using the attach a file with the paperclip, I'm going to go down here and attach a file using Drive. So I'm going to hit my Drive icon, and I'll have my folder structure there. I can actually just go back to that same document and select it out of my Drive. And I can just for fun, we'll just send this to Peach, and we don't need a real title. We'll just type that in there. I could add notes or whatever I wanted to say about that. When I go ahead and click Send here, it's going to ask me, how this document is not shared. So obviously that document exists in my Google Drive, but it's currently not shared with anyone. So I need to select an option as for how they can view it. So let's just say that anybody in our district can view the document, so they'd have to log in. I could change them to edit or comment. Obviously I can do more options, and I can keep going with all kinds of advanced sharing features as well. So for now, I'm just going to select this option here, and that would prevent people who didn't work at Westfield. They couldn't see it because I've selected this one. So I can share and send that, and that will work out just fine. So different ways you can do that. So that's kind of a convenient feature. What is up next here? So we've done send links. Let's look at controlling your inbox. So tons of things going on here. Google, and I mean, it's kind of almost overwhelming with the number of settings they give you for your inbox. Let's go to, on the gear icon, top right hand corner, configure inbox. I like to turn all of these options off. I just use primary. It just gives me the regular Google inbox. But you can turn on all these different tabs, and let's see if it does anything here. What it's supposed to do is show you, yeah, see it can sort now. So I can have a primary tab where these are emails that Google thinks are like personal to me or direct from another person. It's going to sort out. If I had social ones that coming from Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or something, it would sort those. The promotional ones, it actually did a great job of sorting those out. All the ones I've been getting from Domino's and Pluralsight and Best Buy, it promoted all those in promotional. Updates, it trying to try to sort through those. These ones, it determined that it looks like forums. So that's the configure inbox settings, and there's a lot of stuff going in there. So if you like having those different categories, you could potentially miss something if you're just using primary, but it lets you kind of organize those. And like I said, it obviously is very good. It's going to be able to get the social ones as well. It's going to be very good at getting promotional materials that are, it can tell they're coming from a business, that sort of thing. So if you want to keep your primary inbox just for important emails, you can do that. And let's go into the settings as well, gear icon settings. And there's also something in here for, let's see, inbox. Yeah, you can get to that more here too. Well, okay, so that's the category. So what we were just looking at before, Google calls these 5 options up here categories. So let me go back into the settings again and go to the inbox. What you can also do is you can choose important first, unread first, starred first, or priority inbox. So those are 4 other options that you can use that are separate from the categories that are listed below here. So if I said I only want to see my unread messages at the top of my list, I could choose that option, save my changes. Now when I go back to my inbox, I have all my unread messages here and everything else is below that. So if you're really keen on checking which ones are unread, you can use that option. I'm going to go back to settings, and I'm going to check out inbox again, and you can have it so that only your starred ones first. You can use priority inbox, and Google will really try to just figure out pretty much everything. It will just try to figure it out on its own which ones are your priority emails. So in this case, it thinks that these ones are top priority, then the starred ones, and then everything else. And then what else you can do is, gear icon settings, inbox. You can check out and use these importance markers. So these are these little tiny yellow arrows. If you start adding these to emails, Google will start using that to predict which ones are important to you. So if you get emails from your principal and you reply within like 5 minutes every single time, it's going to realize that those are important emails, and it's going to start giving you those more often. So these are all just optional things if you want to look around and see how you want to manage your inbox. Pretty much for me personally, I actually just turn them all off. I just go default, I uncheck all of these, and I show no markers, and I don't do that, and I just save it, and then all my emails just flow in straight how they came in order of date. But as we saw, it can be very useful to go back and configure your inbox and maybe just have the promotions ones show up, so that now you have a tab to sort out all of those ones that are coming from a company, so you don't have to bother with them. So that could be one way to do it. Next up, let's take a look at organizing your email with labels. So on the left-hand side here, well, let's get this chat out of the way. So if we click on the little guy down here, the little face icon, I think it will hide the chat. So the chat is now just taking up this section, and we got another section on chat. So now I can see my labels a lot better. So I'm gonna go and take a look here. So for my labels, I like to sort them in the order I want. I want my to-do list to be first, and then let's say math is my first class of the day, and then reading is my second class, and then I have these other things. So in order to keep them structured in my head, what I've done is I've gone and added the 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3 so that they sort that way alphabetical. You can see that marketplace and then Pluralsight, important. These ones are listed alphabetically. Now important, that's a one that's created by Google, I believe, so that one did not fit in the alphabetical listing. And you can go into manage labels, and there's lots of stuff in here. So you can use these show and hide buttons to determine which ones show up on the left. So let's just go ahead and hide pretty much everything and see what that looks like. So I've hidden, looks like, all of my labels except for inbox. Apparently you can't hide inbox, but all the rest of them now show up under more labels. I can get to them that way. I like to come in here and pick the ones that I want to see. So for me, I like to have sent mail turned on, and I like to have the ones that I created turned on with the names. You can also come in and edit. So this is that super important one. You can come in and change the name to super important 2, and you can choose to put it under a different category. So let's move it to math and then save. So now if I come back to my inbox, I have my list for to-do list, and then I have math, and then I have super important. So lots of settings that are available here in the label section. And what else can we talk about? Let's get into using the filters. So I will go in and show you a filter that I've already created. Let's click on the gear icon and go to settings, and then look at filters. So this one here is my Best Buy filter. So I'm going to just click on edit. And what I did was I set a from category. You can get really advanced with these, and basically how the filters work is they're like a search based on all these different criteria, and that search is always running. So anytime that Google gets an email that matches that search criteria, then it's going to do whatever you specify on the next stage after you click continue. So you can check if you get something that has an attachment, it does a certain thing. You can say if it has an attachment bigger than a certain size. You can search for words. You can say if it doesn't have certain words. You can apply all these different rules in this way. If it's to somebody, subject, all those sorts of things. So in this case, I just needed it to be an email from this particular person. I hit continue, and then I can choose all sorts of things. Now, what I've done on this one is any emails that come to Best Buy go to this label. They get applied to Best Buy, and I don't do anything else. I could choose to delete it. I could choose to send it to spam. I could choose to mark it as important. I could put it in a category. One of the cool ones also is skip the inbox. So that means it would go to this label, but it would not show up in my inbox. So actually, let me apply that right now just for testing purposes. Apply the filter. Now it's not going to do anything right now because I'm probably not going to get an email coming in from them during this demo. But previously, all of my emails were showing up in my inbox. And let's configure this. So all my Best Buy emails were showing up in my inbox, but they already had the label. So if I click on one, you can see it has the inbox label and it has the Best Buy label. But in the future, if I left that filter the same, all of those emails would just go straight to the Best Buy folder and they would not go to the inbox actually. And that's just optional. But what I do like about having them go to the inbox is obviously if they're from Best Buy, they already belong to that category. So you could set that up based on a person, based on somebody that emails you, based on people in your team. You could make a filter that says if the 3 other teachers that are on my team email me, put the team email label on them and have them still show up in your inbox. But then when you're reading the email and you've determined that you've solved everything you need to do and you're done with it, you could just click the archive button. All that does is remove it out of your inbox and it still stays in that folder over here, the label that you've identified. So that's one big way that I use the archive button all the time. I know that it's in my inbox and it's in this label. When I archive, the inbox label goes away. It still stays there, and I just go on and I've gotten that email out of my inbox. Okay, so now let's take a look at some of the chat options. So we noticed that there's 3 options for chat down here at the bottom. And so you can use this to talk to people that are in the district by just like sending them a little message. So how it works is you would just, to me it doesn't really make sense how it starts in a conversation. You actually click on the search and then you type for people. So let's just work with some Star Wars people. So we're going to do Han Solo and enter a checkbox next to him, and let's do Luke and checkbox next to him, and then I'm going to message them. So now I'm starting a conversation with those 2 people. I'm just going to say hi and hey and blah blah blah. They could reply. Obviously I can only do it with one person, but that's a nice way to have conversations without having to send a full email. So great for use between teams, things like that. And you can attach pictures and all kinds of stuff. So it's kind of neat to have that there and available. This tab here, the Hangouts contacts, that shows you a list of like recent contacts that you've been talking to, and this one shows you the list of the actual conversation. So this one is probably more familiar to you if you think of it more like text messaging, so you can actually see the past messages that I've gotten from people. So that one's probably a little bit more useful. Like that, I could just click on that conversation and start typing again. So it is nice to have the chat feature down there. Obviously, if you want to minimize it, you can hit that. It does support video calls, so I could come in here and click video, and it may ask you to install something. But obviously, most of our desktop computers don't have microphones and they don't have video cameras, so not the greatest solution. But if you needed that for educational reason for something, maybe you could come up with something, or we could make something happen for a microphone if you needed that. But it is kind of a convenient feature. Obviously, if you're working on iPads and most Chromebooks, you're going to have those built in and ready to go with the microphones and video cameras. So that's kind of neat. So let's just hide that and hold that down there. We don't need that anymore. Next step. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Gmail Labs feature. So this is pretty cool. It's additional features you can enable into your Google account that Google is basically testing, or other people have written to test within Google. And there's no guarantee that Google is going to keep these around, so just keep that in mind, but they are kind of neat. So if we go to our gear icon and then drop down to settings, we have all these different options across the top here, and we can go into the Labs one. And it says obviously some crazy experimental stuff. So a couple of them that I do like, I'm going to just scroll down and show you one that says chat on the right side. So we were just chatting with on the left hand side here, but I'm going to enable that and save my changes, and it's got to reload the page. But now you'll see that my chat window, my list of conversations, is over here on the right hand side, and I can get to my labels a little bit easier. So I like having it over here. And let's go back into our labs, settings, labs. And some people really like to do the preview window. That's not a one that I really like to use, but preview pane enable. And let's save that. So now I can choose what kind of preview pane I want. I can have it be where my emails show up on the left, and then or the list shows up on the left, and then the emails appear on the right hand side, so I can click through those pretty easily. That's kind of convenient to have that. I can also switch it around so there's known. Actually, I guess I just turned that off completely. Let's go back and see if I can turn that on. Settings, labs. It says it's enabled. I didn't want that to happen. Oh, it came back. Convenient. So let's do a horizontal split. So this will show your emails at the top, and then it'll have the list of emails at the top, and then the email itself will show up at the bottom. So you can do it that way as well. And then one other kind of neat one is the canned responses. So I don't like having that, so let's do no split. And settings, labs. I'm actually going to turn off the preview pane because I don't like it. And I'm going to do one that is called canned responses, and enable, and then save changes. Now, let's say that you get an email from people all the time asking you the exact same question. So, I don't know, maybe it's like, what's the lunch menu? So you're typing an email, you can say, the lunch menu is sun, butter, and jelly. So I can come in here and choose the little drop down arrow and do canned response and do new canned response and say lunch. Okay. And now that canned response is saved, and anytime I need to tell people that, I can click on this and choose canned responses and click on lunch, and it's going to insert that text for me. And then I can just hit send, and well, I don't know, we'll just send this to Peach and hit send, and then I've answered that question super fast. So you can do that with any kind of message that you need to send, and just keep around a quick response that you typically use. Click on it, and bam, you've got your canned response all ready to go. So that is kind of neat to be able to send some answers really quickly. And let's see here. Last thing up on our advanced Gmail is going to be delegating your email. So if we go to our gear icon and settings, we can go to accounts and then grant access to your account and add another account. And oh, I've already granted access to myself. But I can just say, for instance, let's just give it to Peach at wws.k12.in.us, and next step, and send an email, and then Peach will get an email to accept those emails. So if you're going away and you need somebody else in your building or whatever to be able to see your emails, you can do that. And obviously you can choose if you want them to, if they read them, it will mark them as read, or you can say, no, I need to see them, I need to mark them as read only by me. You can choose your settings there. So yeah, those are a lot of our basic sorts of options that we have for advanced Gmail. If you find other things that you need to know about Gmail, let me know, and we can try to make a video about that sort of thing as well.